Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. And I have with me two censorship-resistant social media platforms, blogging platforms. I'm going to be talking to team members from both, and we're going to be discussing issues of censorship and what can be done. And also, they're going to be interacting and interviewing each other about their respective platforms. Now, before I introduce them, please subscribe, comment, upvote, all that business. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoRichYT, and I'll see you straight after this.
Meet the digital snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Don't worry, NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. Internet security is that easy.
Good morning, gentlemen, because we're all in the same time zone, aren't we?
We are, yes.
So good morning to you all. And Kai, you are the Chief Financial Officer for BitTube, BitTube.tv. And Matt, you are one of the co-founders for 3SPEAKONLINE, which is a Steam-based censorship-resistant vlogging platform. And we're going to be finding out about both your platforms and also talking about censorship in general. And let me start by, actually, one of the things is I just want, if you're watching this, I want you to know that we've given each other permission to interrupt each other. The idea behind this video is that it's like we're sitting in a coffee bar, having coffee, talking to each other about our respective projects, a natural, authentic conversation. All right, so which one of you would like to go first to introduce yourself briefly and your project?
The chivalry's oozing.
No, the chivalry or the shyness. Kai, would you like to go first, seeing as you're the most clean shaven?
Yeah, if you think so. Yeah, as you said, I'm working with BitTube, and I'm here in the BitTube project since the first day. So now more than 2 years working on it, trying to bring it to the front, and seeing all the developments and the moves which we had, and also know a little bit about the new steps we will go in the next weeks and months on the project.
Very good, very good. Okay, and Matt, do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Matt Starkey, at Starkers on Steam, and I'm one of the co-founders of the 3Speak project. 3Speak project is tackling a fairly similar scope to BitTube, and we think that there's a lot to be had in fair competition and working together, so hence this call. 3Speak is about 10 months old, so the platform's still in mid-beta phase. And we tried to kind of rush the platform out because we saw this deplatforming was going on, and we think there's there's definitely somewhere for the blockchain world to cater to that market. And so, yeah, I mean, we've slowly started to onboard content creators who have been censored and give them a place where they can swear and speak their mind and not have to worry too much about what they're going to say next, as I know a lot of YouTubers, including yourself, Crypto Rich, are worried about.
Yep.
You just can't say what you want to say these days, and the little things make a difference to whether you get a community strike or not. Whereas I think the same on BitTube as you guys and the guys on 3Speak, we want people to speak their minds and not have to worry about what they're saying. And the blockchain technology that we use allows us to provide anti-censorship and also ownership of your digital assets and ownership of your communities, such that those things are immutable and we can't take them away from you, even if we decide that we're going to censor you later. Hopefully we don't become that. But that's also what YouTube started out as. So
yes,
it's exciting times with this new technology. I'm very looking forward to what we can do.
Yes, very good, very good. Now, I want to start by talking about censorship. So for those that don't know, is that YouTube has been deplatforming, and not just YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I think Gab may have even done it. I've heard, right? Patreon has done it. What other platforms? Either of you know?
Twitter,
Facebook, yeah, definitely. YouTube,
Instagram.
they've all been deplatforming alternative views. And this isn't. Do you want to say something, Kai?
Well, it's just a guarantee. If you have a centralized platform, it's an eventual guarantee. You know, you're going to get censorship.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Yeah. So a lot of crypto YouTubers got hit in December and January, including myself, and then some got hit again recently with their live streams being shut off and getting strikes. I know one YouTuber who hadn't got a strike or anything, but seeing all this was going on, took all their videos off their channel, everything. And then YouTube deleted their channel, gave him a strike, even though there was nothing on the channel that anybody could watch, still gave him a strike. And then the appeals process and the guidelines is, we think it's dangerous and harmful content, or sale of regulated goods. You go back, well, tell me how. They say, well, we've reviewed your appeal and we've rejected it. And that's it. That is the whole process.
They've very much taken the heavy-handed approach, you know, kind of tar all with the same brush and see where the chips land, as opposed to maybe spending a little bit more money themselves or having a few more resources dedicated to providing a tailored or more tailored response to content creators, so that they can actually learn themselves how to adjust their content if it isn't family friendly or advertiser friendly, for example.
Yeah, but the rules also always changing, so you cannot really adjust your content, and you cannot speak with people there, so you cannot ask them, why did you do it? It's just done.
Yeah. And then the other thing I've noticed is my homepage on YouTube. It seems to contain links to more and more inconsequential videos. I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in cryptocurrency. So I'll go look up a video about, you know, when Brexit was going on, all of that, right? And then I'll get links to Brexit videos, or what's going on with with the war in Syria and stuff. I'll get links to that. Now I seem to get more and more links to inconsequential, apolitical nonsense videos. You know, like how to do something, or somebody learning yoga or something like that, right? It's like they've twisted the algorithm, so I have to hunt for the sort of stuff that I'm interested in, rather than previously the algorithm would feed it to me. So there's that sort of censorship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you all you have to do is take a look at these platforms. You know, they do these content creators of the year, or, you know, they have these awards, or YouTube Rewind, that type of thing. And you just have to take a look at the types of people that are being promoted in that, and also promoted to your trending feed, what those people stand for, if they stand for anything at all, in some cases, and what kind of the narrative around that is. And then if you think that other people will be watching that and then following that as some sort of example in some way, you can see what these platforms are going towards. And it's generally family friendly. Well, in fact, sometimes it's often not. It's often, you wouldn't want your kids seeing the type of stuff that's being promoted, you know, in order to get clicks. And don't get me wrong, there'll be some of that seep through to the decentralized and censorship-proof platforms as well. But it's all about, I think, ultimately in the last years, they've gone towards focusing on making the money and being whatever the advertisers want them to be. So, of course, they've kind of created themselves a conflict of interest from the YouTube. It's more like the AdTube kind of point of view now.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's a matter of making money on one side, and on the other side, you see on all these platforms, they have ideas about politics and rules or whatever, and these ideas you see in the timeline of the videos. So they try to teach you.
Yeah, and as you know, as the CFO, it's not cheap to run these platforms, right? If you're doing video streaming, there's cost to it. So that you know, I understand YouTube they have to break even, and so do we in some way. Luckily, we've got clever, interesting ways with cryptocurrency to make that happen more easily than the traditional financial methods. But yeah, I mean, we will also implement ads in some way in our platform. We have that system being built currently, but it's purely from the point of view of, if you watch the ad, you're supporting the content creator, because the content creator is going to have a place they can live. And the advertisers that we bring on, we have to make sure that they are advertisers who accept that they're supporting essentially free speech content, which will make it, of course, generally more difficult than if you're just giving advertisements anything. But the idea for us is not, it's initially to give someone a place, and then after that, it's to make as much money as possible. You know, I don't see that that's the driving force behind this. The driving force is certainly to create a space where anti-censorship, free speech, ownership of your assets can happen online. And then after that, the community should hopefully look after itself, especially with the type of funding that's coming in through cryptocurrency. I see it as a sustainable model, but the balance should be that we're able to pursue the type of content that the creators want instead of the type of content that any advertiser wants, which is so general and kind of family friendly, as it were, that it dampens the content down, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
go on, Kai. Did you want to say something?
I think main thing is always to look on the content, and then the advertising has to fit to the content. It should be in a way that the viewers viewing the adverts, because when the users accept the concept of earning money with adverts, then they have no problems with the ads, and it gives the benefit also to the content owners. Sometimes when you see some adverts also on newspapers where the Google ads coming in, you see things about illnesses and so, and then you see the ads combining with this. You see it's done by an algorithm, but it's sometimes really nasty, this ads combined to the content. So
Yes. Now, what's to stop either of your platforms becoming evil like YouTube? Because YouTube started off with, censorship resistant. Well, they didn't say they were censorship resistant, but it was free speech, freedom of expression. As long as it was legal, wasn't a problem, right? So, but now they've got so big, what's to stop that's not going to happen to 3SPEAKONLINE or BitTube, that at some point you'll get so big that you'll be like, hey, wait a minute, we don't need small vloggers with alternative views. We want to cater for Raytheon and BMW.
yeah, I think what the main difference is these are big companies with centralized systems, and they are the hoster. They do have the content. They have control over the content. We are looking for a decentralized concept where the owners of the content are also the distributors. So they have the control on the content, not we as a company have the control. The control is with the other people.
Right. Okay. So if I translate that to YouTube, if I have the control of the content and YouTube doesn't, they can't delete my videos.
Correct.
It's quite an interesting concept. How do you guys do that technically?
We are working in the moment on the next step with our BitTube .video platform, and on this platform it goes directly to a decentralized system where you can build your own node with your own content, and plug it into it, and the hashes of the content, the addresses, will be saved in the blockchain.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I mean, we've been looking at it as a kind of, from normal kind of language, it feels a bit like the franchise model where you can click, you can create your own version of it. Maybe there's some obligations for you to have to fulfill in order to have that platform in terms of providing storage or providing the cost, covering the costs and things like that. But a few clicks of a button, you get access to the same technology that we have, and you're able to set up your own video streaming platform in your own local jurisdiction. And then that allows the thing to be decentralized from the point of view of infrastructure, as it were.
Yeah, and also when you build your own node, you can use your own hardware like a Raspberry. You can use other machines, normal PCs, whatever you like for storage, and then you are your own storage provider. And when you're your own storage provider, nobody can take the stuff away. Yeah.
And the thing that we always thought as well is that, of course, you can't copy all the videos. It's such a big backlog. But you could have something running whereby the whole network is copying the same sets of videos, so that there's backups of certain videos all over the place, So that if 3Speak did ever get shut down, there's a 4Speak or there's a BitTube, there's all these different options that can be spun up. And as long as we use the blockchains to, like, for example, we'll use the Steam blockchain to track the trending algorithm, so that anyone else can tie into the Steam blockchain and pull our trending algorithm. And as long as they've got access to the videos, they can tie those together and present the same trending page to their front end, without having to write all of the code or store it on a database. It's all kind of there publicly. And we do several things like that, so that in the future, as we build out, like you guys are saying, there'll be the possibility for other people to easily tie into the databases and the publicly stored information on our blockchain, so that they can pull that to their own front ends as well.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, well, thank you, Matt. I want to ask you now, how do I know that 3Speak Online is not going to go and become all censorious in the way YouTube has later on down the line?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because if it can happen, if we are a centralized company and we will end up getting bigger. So there is a possibility, and it's all about how do we follow our principles to make sure that we put the technology in place that stops us from doing that and holds us to account. And like we were saying, just with this spread of the nodes, I think that's a very, very key point, because maybe it's the case of in the future, instead of it being people that are idealistical like we are, where we really want to maintain freedom of speech and anti-censorship, maybe it's a case of that there's so many different options all over the place that it doesn't really matter anymore, because everyone's got access to this technology and it runs on decentralized technology. So some of them might be censorious and centralized, but some of them might have, in order to cater for the market, their own decentralized ideology that they follow. One of the things that we're doing on 3Speak specifically is this idea of using the blockchain so that the content creators and the users own their own assets that they earn on the blockchain. So if they're earning cryptocurrency, or if they've created a community, this is something that's really interesting to me on Steam. They've just built communities. So the Steam blockchain has this feature now where you, as the owner of the community, can go set up your own community, and the blockchain registers that you created that community, right? And then the community is kind of like a Reddit style on the back end of the Steam blockchain. It's a Reddit style thing where, you know, you click into a Reddit community, you can see all these people contributing to the community. It's maybe curated by the people that set that community up. It's got an owner, except that, of course, on Reddit, that can be deleted by Reddit. Not that Reddit does that very often, and you know, we appreciate Reddit's a kind of open ideology, right? But they are a centralized platform, whereas blockchains now will provide that function without having to trust a centralized group of people. So if you create a community, it is essentially your property. And if you build it over time and you have 100,000 or 1 million followers on that community, that will always be there on a blockchain, and not one central party will be able to just delete the community. And then, of course, you can tokenize those communities, so you can release tokens attached to those communities, and the token economies will then be there forever, essentially, as well. So 3Speak is integrating those features into 3Speak as we speak. We've actually been working on it for 6 months. It's running, everything's up and running. But they've just gone out of beta phase on Steam, so we're kind of doing our final integrations of that into 3Speak. And so as a result, the reason I mention this is because to do with us becoming anti-censorship, as it were, or not becoming like a centralized YouTube. Yes, we could do that, but if we started doing that, these users could literally just pick their digital assets up, their digital communities, their digital products and their coins, because they will own all of it. And they'll just be able to go and use another platform and say, see you later, we're going, you know. Whereas in the traditional world, they have to stay on that platform where they've earned those assets and earned that reputation and community. And the decentralized world, it's Web 3.0. It will allow people now to create a footprint on the internet and keep it that way and grow it, and then move it wherever they want to go on the specific blockchains. And then as these blockchains start doing atomic swaps and start integrating features from other blockchains, which is bound to happen now, you're going to be able to not just take those communities from different apps on the same blockchain, but you're going to be able to take them from blockchain to blockchain. And to me, that is incredibly important, because it keeps the platforms true to their user base, you know.
It's very good, Matt. When you said that, I was thinking about how Bitcoin frees us up from the centralized banking system, that I can take my money with me. It stays with me. And then what these decentralized platforms allow us to do, these censorship resistant platforms, is to take my content with me. It stays with me. So no other party or agent can come in and
your community.
And my community as well. Yes. Anything you want to say, Kai, in response to what Matt said? Or about BitTube in particular?
I think part of it, it's quite similar what we do with the decentralization, and also with the possibilities that you do with your content what you like to do, because it's your content, it's not our content. The second thing is on BitTube, we are working also with giving the owners of the content the possibility to earn tubes with it. So to make an earning out of their productions when they have a community, and as bigger the community is, as much more they are able to earn with. And therefore we have built this airtime model, and our platform is something like a use case for these airtime models. So the airtime model can be implemented also into other platforms who are doing content production and who like to offer alternative earnings, not only by ads.
Yes, yes. And let me share my screen, because Matt, you were interested in knowing about the airtime, because there's definitely an integration possible between airtime. So it is possible for someone who's watching me on, or watching any content creator on 3SPEAKONLINE, to pay them with tube coins. So that content creator can get rewarded in, oh, I've stopped the wrong panel, sorry for a second, can get rewarded in Tube as well as in Steam. So this is my airtime wallet, and I've got it as a extension into my Brave browser. And every time I go on the internet, whenever I go on the internet, I get rewarded a little bit of Tube coins. Not a lot, but a little bit. And there's an algorithm that makes sure, that detects bots and makes sure that I'm not gaming the system. And over time, the idea is that it'll build up. But also, if I go to 3SPEAKONLINE, I can send Tube to you, Matt, on your channel, as well as Steam tokens, if I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Anything you want to ask about this, Matt? Anything you want to say about this?
This is really interesting to me, because our plan is to use several different blockchains and create tokens on those blockchains to distribute to our users for using our platform.
Right.
So we'll have different criteria where, you know, you might be able to earn some Tron tokens or some Neo tokens because you went and viewed, or because you, as a content creator, maintained an attention economy.
Yes.
So it's kind of an incentive, and then in return for that, you'll have some sort of discounts for services on the platform if you've earned some of these kind of, well, let's call them view or airtime tokens, right? So this, as soon as you guys mentioned this, it's exactly in line with what I was thinking. So I'd certainly be interested in implementing that on top as well into 3Speak, because I just think the whole idea of interoperability, the whole idea of the ability for users to earn various different currencies for their time spent on the platforms is very, very important. So I don't know how easy this is to implement. I've not looked into it technically.
Oh, well, it's an extension that works in your Chrome or Brave or Firefox browser. And I have a referral link in the description below, which people can use to register, and then they get a little extra tube, and so do I.
Yeah, that's one part, is that you as a user, as a visitor, are using it in your browser. The other part is you also have possibility that you include the system into your web page, or directly into your system with an API, and that you participate all your people of your platform on the system.
Yes.
Sounds good. I mean, to me in the future, I think with a lot of these decentralized or maybe centralized but anti-censorship platforms with a hybrid model, they kind of they're going to have multiple different currencies running on them. I think one of the problems that we've got to tackle at some point is having a wallet that is able to integrate all of these different currencies into it. I mean, there's going to be hundreds. Just on Steam alone, there's going to be, just by posting to certain tags, you're going to earn currency in the same way as this. And so there's going to be multiple different currencies. So each piece of your content is going to have a dollar value to it based in maybe 10 or 15 different currencies. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that's handled anyway.
That will come. I'm sure that will come, because who would have thought when the first people were mining Bitcoin on their computers early in 2009, when we were tragically, right, that it would have led to censorship resistant social media platforms that are an alternative to YouTube. Who would have thought, right? Yeah. And there is Komodo's Atomic Dex, which is a true atomic swap mobile decentralized exchange, where you can swap between platforms. And actually, we may talk about this a little bit later on, but about Tron and what's happening with Steemit, because Tron can be exchanged on the Atomic Dex, on Komodo's Atomic Dex. as well as Ethereum-based tokens and Bitcoin protocols. Not CryptoNote, which is where BitTube is from, because it's a fork of Monero. Not yet, anyway.